What's up, leaders? Scott Matthew here with the Student Leadership Podcast. And today is an incredible day because we are taking the Student Leadership Podcast to the next level. And the way that we're going to do that is the best way that we could possibly do that. We're bringing in a co-host for the Student Leadership Podcast. This is my dear friend, Ashley Brenton. I am super excited to have you, Ashley. She is amazing. We're going to learn a lot about her in this episode and all of the episodes from now on. I'm super excited. So thank you for jumping on board, Ashley. I'm super excited to have you here.
Yes, thanks for having me, leaders. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here. Honestly, if there's a podcast that everyone should be listening to, it's this one. So I'm excited to jump on board and be a part of this.
That is awesome because, man, this podcast, Ashley and I were just talking before we started coming live. There's just got to be more for students. There's got to be more leadership training for students, taught to students, in the way that students want to learn it and need to learn it and that kind of thing. And so that's why this podcast is the Student Leadership Podcast. And we're bringing to you both, and you'll get to know both me and Ashley's story. But we were there, as students trying to grow as leaders because we knew that was going to help us in our career. But unfortunately, that's just not typical for all students right now. And so we're trying to give back, give all those resources, give all those tips, give everything. And so that's why we're here. So we're excited. So today, as we start kind of this new chapter of the Student Leadership Podcast, we want to just help, get to know us more, just kind of tell a little bit about our story and know that, Ashley is pretty special. Well, I'm not. And so know that that it's not because Ashley or myself, we did not grow up rich and luxurious. We didn't grow up there's nothing special about what we came up with, but it's all about what we made happen through our experiences. And so you can too. That's the point, is you can too. So that's what we want to talk about. So Ashley, tell me where it started, when it clicked for you as a student, this leadership stuff, it means something. It's important. I need to pay attention to this. I need to get involved more. Where did that start for you?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So it all started for me when I was actually 15 years old. I was told by high school teachers to drop out of school, that I just wasn't worth the time, really, which is kind of sad. Teachers should not say that, but they did, and it happened. And of course, I was that super successful, awesome human that was I'm not going to do that. And so I was motivated, and I graduated not only high school, but I graduated college with actually Woman of the Year in Family Life Studies with a bachelor's degree in hand. So I succeeded beyond what the teachers thought. But it didn't, that sounds easy. It wasn't easy. So the journey, if you take it back to when I was 15, when I was 15 years old, it was my dream to be a weather woman. Okay. I wanted to be that girl that told everyone what to wear. I just thought that sounded cool. You get to wear a sweater, and you get to wear a sweater, and you get to wear flip-flops.
I love that.
Yeah, I just thought that sounded fun. So when I was 15 years old, I had the opportunity to go to a weather, a newsroom. And there was a tour guide that was taking us around, and she asked me if I wanted to stand in front of the green screen, which literally mouth was drooling. I was so excited. I just was yes, I can't think of anything better. So I stood in front of the screen, and then I just, started making up the weather, right? I thought that's what weather women did.
Yeah.
So she was no, you can just read the words on this TV. So as I'm reading the words, I was struggling, I was getting flustered, and I just remember that moment, I just kind of felt the fattest elephant in the world, sat on my dreams and crushed them. And I walked away, no, it's sad, but I walked away with this ultimate feeling of I never can let someone squash my dreams again. So you might be wondering, why was everyone rude to me when I was 15? What happened? Well, I have a reading disability, and it's not your typical reading disability. I don't have dyslexia, although I'm sure that's also really challenging as well. My disability just means that one eye reads straight and one eye reads in a circle. So I've had to deal with that my whole life, but it was really hard in that moment to read a TV screen and tell the weather at the same time because I couldn't read the words. So when I walked away, I just was I never want to feel this feeling again. I never want this fat elephant to sit on me again. And I never want it to happen to anybody else. And that's kind of where my story started. So I took that feeling and I became a professional keynote speaker. I mean, I didn't really actually know the job existed until I joined a career technical student organization when I was in junior high and in high school. And then I realized that, you know, people get paid to tell people that they are awesome. And I was like, I'm going to do that because not only for the money, but because I truly believe in it. I truly believe that everyone should go after their dreams. So if I have like two main messages I tell people and students is that we all have a disability. We all have crap going on. Now, I call it a disability, but you could call it a challenge, a struggle, a limitation, a hardship, a roadblock, a weakness, like any word you want to call it, a problem. We all have something. And mine just happens to be a reading disability. But on top of that, I like to remind students that we can learn to reach higher. And that's kind of my motto, is reaching higher. Every day you can go a little bit more to reach that ultimate success. And you get to define your success. So it's super cool as well. Like in life, there's not a blanket of one size fits all. You know, when it comes to success, we get to pick our own. So I just help people really decide what their success looks like and then how to get there.
That's incredible. That is awesome, Ashley. I love it. I love the energy and just like the story, right? Because I like a phrase that I use a lot. We all see the glory, but few know the story.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like I remember that all the time because you might see somebody on a stage and like they have an awesome keynote, or like, you know, think of anything, like think of like that number one basketball player on this team in high school, right? Or like that teacher you look up to a lot, like anybody that you like see is like, wow, like look at how much they've done, like look at how all the success that they have, and like, man, if you only knew. Like that's what people will say, like when like I get the chance to ask somebody like, man, like it looks like you've been doing everything, like wow, like this is so incredible, you're so good, you're so this and that, and like the response is often just like, wow, but it's been a long journey, you know. And so we all have our thing, you know, sometimes, and like not to downplay anybody's thing or limit or, you know, disability or anything like that, but like we all have something that we have to overcome, and you have a choice, right? And so like think of like, man, that just super sticks out to me when you said like teachers, you know, told you like, okay, like this isn't going to work, like you won't ever get this, just give up. Or like, we'll just kind of push you through the system so you can get out of here, but just don't worry about it, right? And like, don't try. And like, wow, you know, and like, that's a whole new podcast we could do trying to fix that. But that's, you know, the point is like, you always have a choice, and you'll have a choice. And Ashley had to make that choice and keep pushing. And, you know, I'm sure there was a lot more choices after that of people still saying like, hey, you know, you should give up, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. What business do you have trying to be a public speaker? Who are you? You know, everything like that. But man, like that's just awesome, Ashley. So, you know, when you talked about CTSO organizations, right? So those student leadership organizations, those are incredible opportunities there. And so which one was it? You're gonna have to remind me.
Yeah, so I joined Family Career Community Leaders of America, which in short stands for FCCLA. And that, like, their main focus is just helping, like, a lot of CTSOs focus on like one niche, one area. So FCCLAs, I guess, would be like FACS classes. So your FOOS classes, your financial development classes, your child development, all that kind of stuff. But I was in it for the leadership and the free candy. So that's about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, so out there for you students, you know, there's so many great opportunities out there. There's clubs and cool organizations at your school. And sometimes it's just saying yes to that sign with free pizza for that meeting. And then you never know what might happen. You know, and that kind of reminds me of like the free candy thing. Like that's why I joined. When I got into like my student leadership journey, where like the first time I guess I joined like a leadership focused organization. So like I played sports all in high school. I was lucky enough to work hard to get the opportunity to play football at a junior college. I knew that was going to come to an end. I had wrapped that season up, and I was like, okay, like what's next for me? And I heard about the student leader organization, and the compensation was free rent. And as a college student, I was like, heck yeah, like, yes, I want free rent. Are you joking me? And so I signed up for that. And I got it. And as I got into it, I had already like developed like the motivation and the drive to like be the best I could be in athletics. Like I wasn't the natural, like God-given talent athlete kind of thing. I had to build myself a lot through just like tons of hard work and stuff. And I was looking for like, well, what's next for me in after athletics and this student leader organization, I just saw like, man, this is like really helping me just become like a better person. Like it's one thing to be like a good athlete, but like now, like I was learning about communication and personal organization and like leading projects and teams and conflict and all that kind of stuff. And so I just went all in. I went all in on that. And just to kind of tell a little bit more about my story, I went all in on that and fast. Like I didn't like, there were people that had done that job for like a year before me, you know, they had a year and a half under their belt and that kind of stuff. And I was just coming in like the new guy, like just coming in and mixing things up a little bit. But that lasted a semester, so half a year. Then the second half, all of a sudden this new student leadership position opened up and they said like, who wants, you know, if you want to, you can apply for it. Anybody can apply that's currently on our team. And instantly like the culture of the team was like, oh, like so-and-so and so-and-so are going to get it because they've been around for 2 years. And I was like, well, like maybe, but I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. Like it sounds cool. Like it was clearly an opportunity to do more as a student, to have a leadership role and that kind of thing. So I jumped in there. I applied, had a good interview, got the job. And so then I had to jump into that. And again, like I saw this great opportunity of like, man, this is like, there's so much growth here. There's so much I can do. So let me jump in there. And so I did that. I graduated from that junior college. And then that summer, a full-time position opened up. And again, it was kind of one of those things like you need to have upper degrees. You need to have, finish your bachelor's degree. I didn't have that yet. But I said, well, I'm going to try anyway. And I applied, rocked the interview, got that job too. And it was because of everything that student leadership teaches you, everything that Ashley and I are going to bring onto this podcast. Like it's not secrets. There's no secrets to this type of success. It's just executing on it. It's just doing it and not waiting to say, well, somebody told me no, somebody told me no, somebody told me to wait, somebody told me to wait until I graduate. No. We're just going to do it. Just try executing. Instead of not with your boss, you're executing with your teacher. You're trying that new communication skill. You're trying to work in a group. Yeah, you might supervise people one day, but hey, you got a group project today, right? Anyway, I'm just like, man. So anyway, so that was a little bit about my journey. I had athletics and then went into student leadership at a junior college. But that developed into kind of my, Ashley talked about like reaching higher. And what I say is obviously nix your limits, right? So any limit that you have or that somebody's trying to put on you, you can nix it or cut out, eliminate, refuse to accept. And then you can keep going and you're so much better for it. And so that's just that's the exciting message that we're here for you. That's what this podcast is going to be all about. So Ashley, tell them more about what we have in store. Like what things can they look forward to hearing from us? Why should they keep listening to this podcast?
Well, before I answer that, which I will get to, Scott, I have to say, I love your story because I love that you didn't blink, right? Like you were like, your eyes were wide open and you went in, like, I feel like you just like jumped into like deep sea and you just swam and you just didn't stop. And I think that's really cool. I think that's a lesson that we all need to like remind ourselves. I think we all know that in the back of our heads, like, oh yeah, just like keep going. But we don't remind ourselves of that and we get in these ruts. And so it's cool that you didn't and that you just kept pursuing. And something that you said, which will kind of answer this next question is, everyone in life, there's going to be someone that's not in your corner. Like we all have like nasty humans in our life, but no matter what they tell you, oh, you need this degree. Oh, you need this. Oh, like you're not smart enough or you can't do this. Like you can. And no matter whether it's reaching higher or nix your limits, like you can go out there and become and do whatever you want. And so that's what you're going to get from listening to this podcast. And honestly, like you're just going to get a whole bunch of awesome leadership for you as students, like not in general, but for you as someone that has lived it and someone that are still living it. Like we're still, we're not in school. We both have graduated, Scott and I, but we were there and we're still young enough that we could be there. So we're right along with you. We're still learning as well, but we want to teach you as we grow. And we hope that, you teach us as well as you grow. And we just kind of help each other out because that's what life's about, really. It's not about one person making it to the top. It's all of us getting there together.
Totally. I love that. And like one piece I want to say, like, you jump in and you like Ashley said, like I didn't blink at these opportunities. That doesn't necessarily mean that I like never was like, wow, this is kind of scary and intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, and that's totally real and that's totally okay. And it's something that people don't talk about enough. Like when I walked into that interview for that full-time job at that junior college, like that was one of the scariest things I've ever done. Like I was this young 22-year-old kid applying for a job that the other applicants were like over 30, like it was like so intimidating. All the people in the room were like well into their careers and like all that kind of, and it's okay to feel that nerves, like feel those nerves, feel scared, but you do it anyway. You just,
Yes.
you do it anyway. And
I love that.
like you just push through. So yeah, and that's what we're talking about on this podcast. Like we're going to help you understand the tools to succeed, understand the habits that you can have, the action that you should take. But guess what? We can't take it for you. And that's your job, leaders. Okay, we're going to do a lot for you, but you have one job, and that is to take action on what we talk about. And that's honestly what's going to make the difference, because you can know a lot. You can know a whole bunch of stuff, but until you do something about it, it is never going to bring you closer to your actual goal, to that vision of that lifestyle you want, that job you want, whether that's to go run some awesome marketing firm in New York or to go back to your middle school and be an incredible English teacher, because that's the type of value you want to add. No matter where it is or where it falls in between, you can make that happen if you just choose to take action. Take action on these things, and that's what's going to happen. So that's where we're at with this podcast. This is for students, and even though Ashley and I both have graduated and moved along, we're with students all the time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
we got you. We know what's happening. We know the ins and outs of that. We're asking you these questions so we understand what's happening with you. And then based on our experience and the things that we know will work, that's the advice and the tips and the training that you're going to get from us. And so know that, because we're totally here for you, and it's going to be relevant. It's going to be on point for you. So, at the end of the day, here's some other things you can expect from this podcast. Ashley and I are going to be here. We're going to start every once in a while. We're going to open up our network, our circle. We're going to bring somebody in, awesome, interview them and get that. Maybe that'll be some of the keynote speakers you've heard of before. Maybe that'll be some incredible professors at colleges or teachers in high school. Maybe that'll be an admissions guy at some university talking about how to get into college, all of that kind of stuff. We're going to be bringing that to you. We're also going to be doing some interviews with students, with student leaders. I'm super excited about that. And if that perks your ears, like if your students out there, if that perks your ears, like send us a DM on Instagram, something, like reach out, and we want to bring you in. We want to bring you in. You were going to say something, Ashley. I cut you off.
No, you're okay. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, if that sounds like something you want to do, like, let us know. Hit us up. We want to bring you onto the podcast. So we were on the same wavelength.
Awesome. Yes. And this podcast is going to be fire. Like, I know there's tons of podcasts out there. They're starting to become more and more popular. But they're all kind of aimed to, like, after graduation, they're for the professionals. Here's how to be successful in the workplace. This one's hitting you right in math class. Okay. Right, yeah. Right in your prep for that club or whatever it is. And so that's what I'm super excited about. It's coming. It's coming. But hey, one thing we do want to talk about, okay? We're going to wrap up our podcast with something, a fun little tidbit, a fun little thing. And so today we're going to talk about new trends. I'm going to give Ashley some time to think about hers. Just like a new trend, like what's the new trend you're paying attention to? Like what's something new that's sticking out or anything like that? I'm going to share mine. So I'm really into social media and marketing, and I love like keeping updated with everything like that. And I'm sure you've heard of it, students, that there was the app Musical.ly, right? And like caught fire with tons. There's baby Ariel, all those people that like made tons of money off of it. Anyway, it was very like middle school aged app, right? And as soon as students got into high school, I noticed I would ask them like, oh no, Musical.ly, like that's for all the middle school students, that kind of thing. Well, fun fact about Scott is I color code my apps, and I had Musical.ly on my phone. One day, Musical.ly changed from like a red to just straight black. It was a black app, and I'm like, hey, that doesn't belong there. What's this? And I noticed, oh, that was Musical.ly, and now it's called TikTok. And the crazy thing is I had college students and high school students come up to me and were like, have you heard about this cool new app called TikTok? Like, man, it's super cool. Me and all my friends are jumping on it. And so it's amazing. I'm just going to pay attention to this trend. I'm going to see if it sticks around or if students start figuring out, wait, this is just like Musical.ly. This is still for kids, or anything like that. Anyway, so that's something funny that I've noticed recently, a little trend that stuck out to me. But Ashley, does anything come to mind for you that you want to share?
First off, let's all just take a moment and make fun of Scott that he organizes his phone in colors. Like, who does that?
It's
but
true.
I've always loved that Scott does that. He sticks to his guns. Nothing really has popped out except this weird thing. So we'll see. I kind of want all of you to respond to us. Did you buy this, or are you planning on it? So I watched Shark Tank. If you watch Shark Tank, and the new episode that just came out it's called Shed Detector, and it's for your dog. And you literally put your dog in like this onesie, and your dog no longer sheds. Well, my parents babysit our dog whenever we go out of town. And so my sisters are like forcing me to buy this shed detector. And I'm like, I'm not forcing my dog to go in pajamas. But anyways, they apparently have it bought and they're shipping it to my house. So we'll see if my dog likes it. But I want to know if it is a big deal, because on my Instagram, because I've been Googling it, it's popping up. But I'm just wondering, like, are people actually going to buy it? The sharks bit and they made a deal. So who knows? Maybe they'll be the next big thing for dogs. So we'll keep posted on that.
All right, there you go. New trends out there. You never know what's coming down in the world out there. That's super crazy. Well, that wraps up our episode of the Student Leadership Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ashley, super excited to have you on board. There's going to be some incredible things. Everybody's going to be excited to hear from you. I'm excited to hear and learn from you. And so let's get going. All right, we'll see everybody on the next episode.
Yes. Bye, everyone.